Welcome to Learn English with Profi Jaimi. This is the first video in our new series, Mind Over Money. In this series, you will learn vocabulary related to emotions and basic finance, understand how our feelings can influence our spending decisions, and improve your English listening and comprehension skills. Mind Over Money, Part 1: The Emotional Landscape of Money. Episode 1: Leo's Impulse Buy. The Saturday market in Cali was always a rush of energy for Leo. The loud calls of the sellers trying to sell their goods, the delicious smells of food cooking on the street, and the bright colors of fruits, vegetables, and handmade crafts made it a feast for the senses. Leo, a young man in his early 20s, worked part-time at a local bookstore and was also studying English. For him, the market was a place where he could find interesting things, but it was also a place where he had to be careful not to spend too much money. Today, something special caught his eye. On a table covered with a checkered cloth, among other electronic items, was a pair of sleek, noise-canceling headphones. Leo had wanted a pair of these for months. His small apartment was often noisy, and it was hard to focus on his English listening exercises with the sounds of traffic and his neighbor's loud salsa music coming through the thin walls. He stopped walking, his eyes glued to the headphones. They looked even better in real life than in the online reviews he had watched many times. The smooth, black surface, the soft ear cushions, the idea of a quiet space, it all seemed very appealing. He picked them up. They were surprisingly light and felt expensive. The seller, a man with a friendly smile and a convincing voice, immediately started talking about how good the sound quality was and how long the battery lasted. Leo listened, his heart starting to beat faster with excitement. He imagined himself listening to his English lessons, the speaker's voice clear and easy to understand. He pictured himself on the bus, not hearing the loud engine or other people talking. He thought about quiet evenings spent listening to audiobooks, learning new words without even trying hard. He knew, in his mind, that buying these right now was not a good idea. His work hours at the bookstore had been a little less last month, and he was trying hard to save money for a new English textbook his teacher had recommended. He had even made a small plan for his money, but it was easy for him to forget this plan. But at that moment, thinking clearly seemed difficult. The strong feeling of wanting these headphones was louder than his good sense. "How much are these?" he asked, his voice showing how much he wanted them. "Ah, these beauties," the seller said, with a smile in his eyes. "Normally, they cost a lot, but today, for you, a special price, only $50. $50 was a lot of his savings, more than he had planned to spend on fun things this month. A small voice in his head tried to tell him to be careful, to remember the textbook. But the strong desire to have the headphones right now was too powerful. The feeling of wanting them, the quick pleasure of owning them, made him forget about the future. "Okay," Leo said, a little too quickly. He reached for his wallet, a small leather one that suddenly felt lighter. He counted out 5 $10 bills and gave them to the seller. He felt happy but also a little guilty. As he walked away from the stall, the headphones safe in their box, he felt very satisfied. He couldn't wait to use them. He imagined the great sound and the peace and quiet they would give him. For a few happy hours, he enjoyed his new purchase. He even stopped at a small cafe and bought a pastry, feeling like he deserved it. But later that evening, back in his quiet apartment, the happy feelings started to go away. He took out his small notebook where he wrote down how much money he spent. Seeing the number 50 written down, a big number compared to the little money he had left, made his stomach feel tight. The textbook. He had promised himself he would buy it this week. Now, that seemed less likely. He thought about the extra hours he would need to work to get his savings back up. He remembered his teacher saying how important that book was for improving his reading skills. A feeling of disappointment came over him, heavy and sad. The excitement he had felt earlier was gone, leaving behind a feeling of regret. He put on the headphones. They blocked out the noise perfectly, making him feel separate from the sounds of the city. But even in the quiet, the small voice in his head that told him he had made a mistake would not go away. The next morning, Leo was in the park, trying to focus on his English grammar exercises. He sat on a bench under a big tree, the sounds of children playing and birds singing a gentle background noise. He saw Miss Evelyn Reed, a kind, older woman who often came to the park. He had seen her reading or just watching the world with a peaceful smile. Today, she was taking care of a small area of flowers near the edge of the park. Ms. Reed seemed to have a quiet wisdom. She watched things carefully but was not nosy. She had sometimes said a kind word or given Leo a smile, and he felt comfortable around her. Leo sighed, looking at the headphones still in their box in his backpack. Ms. Reed looked up from her flowers. Her eyes, though she had wrinkles around them, were sharp and observant. She seemed to notice that he was not happy. After a few quiet moments, she walked slowly towards him, holding a small garden tool. "Good morning, Leo," she said, her voice soft but clear. "You seem a little worried today." Leo gave a small smile. "Good morning, Ms. Reed." "Yes, I think I am." He hesitated, not sure if he should tell her about his small money problem. Ms. Reed sat down on the bench a little way away from him. "Sometimes," she said gently, looking at the colorful flowers, "our minds can be like these gardens. Full of beautiful things, but sometimes a few weeds can grow and distract us." Leo nodded slowly, understanding what she meant. "Is it something you would like to talk about?" she asked, her voice kind. He hesitated again, then sighed. "Well, I bought something yesterday. Something I really wanted. Noise-canceling headphones." "Ah, a treat for yourself," Ms. Reed said, her face showing no strong emotion. "Yes, but..." Leo stopped talking, taking the box out of his backpack and showing it to her. "They're wonderful. They really block out the noise. But I spent quite a lot of money on them. More than I had planned." Ms. Reed nodded, showing she understood. "And how does that make you feel now?" Leo looked down at the box in his hands. "A little disappointed in myself, I think. I was saving for a textbook, and now it will take longer. I felt so excited when I bought them, but now that feeling is gone, and I feel regret." He finally said the feeling that had been bothering him. Miss Reed's eyes became softer. "Regret is a heavy feeling, Leo. We often feel it when what we do is not in line with what we really want in the long run." She paused, then looked at him directly. "Tell me, Leo, when you saw these headphones at the market, what was the strongest feeling you had?" Leo thought for a moment, remembering the scene. "Excitement, definitely. A strong desire to have them right away. I imagined all the ways they would make my English studies easier and more enjoyable." "Excitement," Miss Reed repeated softly. "A powerful feeling. And it often promises us immediate happiness. But sometimes," she pointed to her garden, "the most beautiful flowers take time and careful work to grow. Just like our financial well-being. She picked a small, bright blue flower. This little flower might catch your eye with its bright color. It gives a moment of pleasure. But a whole garden, carefully planned and looked after, gives lasting beauty and food. Leo looked at the flower in her hand, then back at the headphone box. He was starting to understand what she meant. The quick happiness of buying the headphones had been like the single bright flower, attractive for a moment but not helping his bigger money goals, his garden. Our feelings, Leo, Ms. Reed continued, gently putting the flower back in the ground, are strong motivators. They can push us to do great things, but they can also lead us to make choices we later regret. Learning to recognize these feelings, especially when it comes to spending money, is a very important lesson. She looked at him with kind eyes. The excitement you felt was real. Wanting something that would make your life better is understandable. But maybe, next time, before you give in to that immediate feeling, you can take a moment. Ask yourself, is this something I need or just something I want? Does buying this help me reach my bigger goals? How will I feel about this tomorrow or next week? Leo listened carefully. Ms. Reed's words made sense with the regret he was feeling. He had acted without thinking, letting the strong feeling of wanting the headphones take over his more sensible thoughts and his plan to save money. It's not about never buying things you enjoy, Leo, Ms. Reed added gently. It's about being aware of the feelings that make you decide to buy them. Are you buying something because it truly makes your life better, or are you just trying to feel happy for a short time? Leo looked at the headphones again. The first happy feeling was now mixed with the wisdom of Ms. Reed's words. He had learned something important, a first step in understanding how his feelings and his money were connected. He realized that managing his money well was not just about numbers and plans, it was also about understanding the feelings behind his spending. And that understanding, he thought, would be important for him as he learned English and built a new life.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, be sure to check out our next video for more engaging content. Don't forget to subscribe to Learn English with Profi Jaimi so you never miss out on new stories and helpful English learning tips. See you in the next video.